don't think there's front and back. These are the I Wonder All-Terrain 120D, not the old version. They are the newest version available. Pulleys here. And our spicers. Goes one bearing. And then a spacer. And then another bearing. Get it nice and straight, flat before you give it the power. And it'll go flat. It must be somewhere else. No washer. No washers. No washer in the case. Okay, move it on. So that's one. Bearing, spacer, bearing. Next. These are I Wonder 608 RS. And they have the I Wonder logo on them. So they gotta be up there around the 8s, the 9s. Apex style. Apex. Dos. I do push-ups on my thumbs, that's how I can do this. Get that extra weight. Alright, 4 done. So one pulley. Process to complete. We got that. Alright, these things. These funny looking things. What are they called? Truck base plate and black T-tool. So that's what we're going for now. So we got the truck base plates here. Remove the lock nuts from each base plate. Remove the bushing washer from each base plate. Place the truck hanger in the base plate with the words facing forward. Ooh. T-tool, actually. We're going to take this off. Take off one cap bushing. These have the caps go down if that's how you prefer to ride. Some like them upside down, kind of working as a flat washer. So take off one. Go to the next one. I'm using the stock T-tool. Just spin that bad boy off. Don't let it go flying because you might not find it. There we go. Let's grab our hangers and figure it out. Okay, there we go. Here are the hangers they sent. These look like an in-house build. We'll see in just a second. Kind of look like the Alpines. 10. Words facing forward. Words facing forward. Let's see. One hanger is smaller than the other. Just a note, so I presume the thin one goes on the front, the thin one goes on the back, thicker one will go on the front. My guess, but we'll find out. Alright, so this goes on here with the words facing forward, like so. Gonna kind of get the back bushing to seat. Just like that. I'm gonna put it in the stock configuration for now. A lot of times you'll find that these won't have enough thread to bite down on, so just take the washer off, use the nut at first just to get it to seat. I guess that's the way I would do it. Just turn that on, let it squish it down some, then you can take it back off and then put your washer on. I'm going to use the cup side down, make it functional. And then what I like to do is I'll just get the threads just to the top of the screw in there, and then I'll install them both that way. Pretty flush. I'll get like just a part of one thread coming out, about like that. And I'll set them both up that way and adjust them when I'm riding them. Click on. Same kind of thing. Doesn't fit, so it doesn't give you a thread yet. And I'll fast forward all this. for you guys. Try to get them as close as possible. I'm sure they'll both be different, but it's the symmetrical. Alright, Bob, moving on to the next part. Thanks for hanging out. Alright guys, now you're going to watch. We're going to go ahead and slide along, move right along here. I'm going to pull off one nut and one washer. Don't lose them. They do have extras in the kit, one per. You get one extra, so don't lose them. I have these little aluminum cups I like to use, or aluminum magnetized dishes to keep all my tools right where I want them. So I leave one washer on, pull the other off. Wow, I don't need to give you guys a lesson on that. I slide one all the way back, put the other one with the nut, take your wheel. Of course, you know the white lettering goes out, no lettering goes in. You got one washer here. You're gonna slide it through. It's gotta go through that little sleeve in there. It'll find its way. Put your washer. I always put the flat side down. If I'm wrong, post in the comments. And then my lock nut. Whatever you do, if you're doing it this way, take the extra washer off. You probably saw that just fall. It landed, bounced up on my tail. Ugh. See, that was a knucklehead move, but hey, I didn't say it was perfect. Once again, I am a noob. So when I put these on for the first time, I'll go a little tighter just to make sure the bearings will seat completely. You will hear like a little crunch maybe. A small pop. Nope, that one was good. And then I'll just back it off just a tiny bit. Just to get some good free motion. I don't like play in my wheel. So probably have to ride it once or twice and then adjust accordingly. Next wheel. Sure, on. These are designed to put flat side down, step up. Then we just have to around, we'll find it. The other one, flat side in, smooth side out. I press the pretty good with my weight. I like to point out, guys, watching these videos from here out. What's 1 pound, drop 20 pounds, sometimes just under 180 pounds. Sorry, I have to have music off, otherwise we'd be jamming something. Repeat the other side. Boom. It is very important not to over tighten the lock nuts. It will create much more rolling resistance. Tighten the lock nuts until they're both touching the bearing, and loosen the lock nuts half turn. You should be able to very lightly move the wheel literally on the axle. If there is no movement, it's too tight, and if the wheel can slide, the lock nut is too loose. So like I said, I like to tighten them all the way down, then back them out to where there's like just a mil of play. And I'm talking mil, like just a little bit of movement in there. You don't want that extra resistance. And oh, you knew that. Alright, now we gotta get out the motor and the back plates. Gather the motor mounts, motors, motor hardware, Loctite, and Allen wrenches. So let's do that. Alright, so tools we need. Those are here, so let's go ahead and keep that open and see what's in the box. Wait. Squirrels running around in here, chipmunks coming back behind them. Alright, it's a KIT motor. These are 3,000 watts per piece. Guys, 3,000 watts per piece. That's 6,000. This is a dual motor setup. That's 6,000 watts of power. This is one that we use on a skateboard. These are the ones that I use in my 700 size helicopters. Not much bigger. So I wonder. What do you guys think? Post down in the comments. Should I do a DIY with some Rage motors? Competition heli motors? That would be sweet. But moving on. Sorry to get sidetracked. Alright, there's one motor out, stripped out, box here. I'm trying to keep the packaging because if, for any which reason, I get an issue, I can ship it back in its own box. Or reconfirm I got everything. Built over 200 helicopters, radio control competition helicopters, pylon racers. This is a snack for me. Even though I've never done it before, just a little bit of direction with proper verbiage anglais, I can do it. No pressure here. I like the shiny. Ooh, guys, peep game. Peep game. There's some kind of cover, shield of some sort, but heavy metal. Looks very sharp. Very, very nice. Looks super duper sweet. BK is doing something big here. Looks like the motor mount here, more screws to that, belt system through here, down to an axle, and then the pulley setup. I presume that's it. Let's see what's in this one since it was kind of taped. None of those are open. You must not need that one there yet. Looks like your charge coil. Oh, that's your on and off. Oh, the action in that button is nice, guys. Nice. Super nice. Feels smooth. I disliked having to hold it down in the daylight. I didn't know if it actually turned on, so I had to turn the controller on, and it was wonky. Give me just a minute, do some reading. You don't have to deal with any of that boring stuff, and I'll be right back. Alright, so installing the motor mounts to the motors. Be sure to read. One mount has an O punched out on both sides. That goes to the motor with the O sticker on the can. So be sure to do that. Very little, about 3 drops of Loctite on each of the screws as it goes in. Don't torque them all the way down. You're going to need to play with that motor to get your tension with the belt and the gear meshed perfectly. So this is the screws you want to use, not the unlabeled pack. Do about 3 threads, not a lot to get. Corresponding down to included. Be sure you're using the face out, out, hands out motor. I'm sliding down the top, just 3 threads in. Go my next bolt. Hit with just a dot of Loctite. Just that, guys. I mean, it's small, I'm not taking another breath over. That'll be enough. Now, 2 more back forward. Okay, dos, tres, look at the E. And then we'll drop the gear. Outside holes, I'm using on first holes because it's not legal. These holes, you have to be light, so just take these holes. One more of this out, and then we can move to the next one. Drop. Okay, now it's got play, but it's snug. Okay, but it's snug. Okay, moving on to the next one. Same thing. Back side. Beautiful. So let's get our screws out. Looks like the measure on something. Let's take it right to the next. We'll see through all this. Fast forward. Cool. Okay. I'm not sure. Every time, let's do this one. Alright. There we go. Back side. Second motor mounts. Just a second. Once you have both motor mounts on, guys, make sure if they're facing each other, the large crack on top, the small crack for the outside fitting, I just went by this to make it easy. Wires are pointing towards each other off the top sides of each motor. Do the O1 first, do the same thing to the opposite motor. I made the mistake, wires are coming out the other side, so I flip-flopped it around. That's how they should look when it's completed. Alright, next step, we're going to put the motor pulleys on. There is a set screw in there. You're going to want to pull out. It's a 2mm. Just slip it in, pop it out. Probably put some Loctite on them. We got 2 of them, so get those out now and pop those guys. This one you definitely don't want backing out. So cover the whole screw. It's not too big, it's about 1/4 inch. Drive it into your pinion. Before it gets to the inside, in there, once you have it in there, you're going to take a little Loctite on the flat side of the motor shaft, the motor shaft. You're going to add a little bit of blue Loctite. And that's also going to hold that shaft, that pinion in place. So I slip this in. Here's another one of those deals where you don't want that screw cutting through at all. Should kind of glide right on. It's keyed, so hopefully I won't have too much machining if I do to get it right. But it's not like butter. I might have to bust out the file. Oh, there it goes. Alright, I'm not pushing it all the way in because I don't know the range that I'm going to need. I'm going to leave that set screw there for now. It's not going to fall off, and I'm going to repeat the same process for the left motor here. So a little bit of this on here. We'll sink the screw inside its hole, and then find that flat side, put a little bit of Loctite. Wow, I like to put it right down the shaft like that on that flat side. Okay, and then I'll slide the shaft in, the pinion onto the shaft. Try not to go all the way, because you're probably going to need to adjust it. It's probably going to need a bunch of adjustments to ride in the correct spot on the motor pulley onto the shaft. make sure the shaft is flush with the end of the motor pulley. So how they want you to put it is the shaft comes just flush to the tip. If it's out too far, it will not line properly, guys. So you can do it like this with your thumbs. If it's too hard to get it flush, there's other ways of doing it, using a piece of cardboard, using the pressure on the cardboard. Don't hit it with anything. You should be able to push it down. There we go. And get it to sit flush. If you hit it with something, you are liable to warp the shaft. That looks like a 10 mil shaft, but you could warp it, or worse, damage the motor internals. So get that one flush. We're going to take and put this one flush. That one went on like butter. That's flush. That's not flush completely. There we go. Now we're flush. Flush is about 2 mils off the back plate. So if you look at it, it does not protrude. It's super flush. That's our starting point. Okay. Reinstall the set screw in the motor. Bop, bop, bop. Tighten it down and do the same thing on both. After you get it set flush to the shaft, make sure, remember to tighten your countersunk, your pinion screw. It should only fit on one way. These shafts are grooved and your pinion is grooved, so it's dummy proof, guys. I'll try to skip through some of these boring parts. And step 13, 3/4 drops of Loctite to each. Do not tighten the bolts all the way. There should be a gap between the parts to allow them to be installed on the trucks, okay? So like I said, guys, they say 3 or 4 drops. I'll do about 4 threads. 4 threads. You can do them at the top, preferably towards the bolt head. About 4 or 5 threads down. Put them both in. Finger tight, leave them loose so you can still pull and move this around, so you can put that part of the truck lock in there. So just a little plate. Do the same thing to the other side. Pull these bad boys out of here. Pull those guys out. Put the screw these in. Make sure you put the clamps on the right direction. If one side's thicker than the other, flip it around. This is the start of it. Step 14. Slide the left motor mount with jot onto the left side of the truck. Rear truck, please. Push it as far back as it'll go onto the truck. I'm assuming we're going to slip the left one on the left side of that truck and smash it up as far as it can go and then tighten it in. So my question is, alright, so this is pointing forward. I guess I can just look at the picture. So what they do is they have it upside down like this. That's how it's sitting. And they're putting the left one on, that's the O. And it's going on like a so. So you slide in the shaft just like this, just like a so, like a so. You may have to adjust those 2 screws, back them out a little more. But you're going to key it in, you'll find that spot. And slide it in, boom. That hole should go over that outer crack. And then from here, that's when you're going to start to put a little tweak on it. I'm sure we're not going to tighten it all the way right now, but just tweak it to hold it in its spot. Okay? Alright guys, I'm kind of blocking the view. I'm using the belly maneuver on my new Supreme shirt. I'm going to have to pause it, guys. I got to go get a haircut. But that's that side. That's that side. We'll be right back with you. Cut.